As the Democratic National Convention drags on, the betting markets seem to be sharply shifting towards the former president, Donald Trump. On Betfair, Trump's odds are now at 51%, while Harris is at 48%. And on Polymarket, they're now showing Trump with a 53% chance of winning compared to Kamala Harris at 46%. This shift represents a huge reversal from earlier trends. Just a week ago, Harris was leading with 54% to Donald Trump's 44% on electionbettingodds.com. Harris had previously overtaken Trump's odds on Betfair in early August. So what could be causing people who are putting their money where their mouth is to start favoring the former president, Donald Trump? Well, there appears to be three major red flags that I believe are drawing bettors towards Donald Trump more than anything else. First, it's the Democrat National Convention itself. Ordinarily, these types of events give boosts to the candidates, but not this time around. The reason for this is Kamala Harris herself. The reality is Kamala is not a likable person. Most people don't seem to like her. And the more that she opens her mouth, the more cringe and strange she becomes. Let's take this precious little gem making the rounds on social media.
And by doing that, and all that that requires, which is the hard work, the practice, working as a team, knowing that you will be undefeated even if you don't win every game, but no circumstance or event or moment will defeat your spirit.
So you can be undefeated even if you lose. But it's not just these kinds of cringe statements. It's also her empty candidacy. Aside from her economic plan that she put forth last week, which is estimated to grow the national debt by another $1.7 trillion, which will only further add to the inflation crisis, while at the same time announcing plans to raise taxes while the country is still reeling from a deep economic malaise, even the mainstream media was forced to bash this. Her campaign, you see, appears to have no legs that she's standing on. It's all about the vibes, or we hate Donald Trump. That's it. In fact, it's so bad that the Trump campaign decided to help her out and launched an epic troll website, Kamala2024policies.com. Trump spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt said on the matter that Kamala Harris has yet to tell voters what her policies are, so we thought we'd help them out. Now, this website discusses her radical left-wing positions and actions she's taken throughout her career and during her reign as vice president these past 4 years. The policies listed include her fighting to set murderers free, citing her efforts to help raise bail money for rioters following the George Floyd incident. She's also hit on her deciding vote to raise taxes on the middle class. And the website highlights that Americans earning less than $200,000 per year saw their taxes rise by $16.7 billion in 2023. They also hit her with her policies on radical climate agenda, her dreams of strangling the U.S. production of oil by banning fossil fuels through the radical Green New Deal. And of course, they hit her over the border being broken wide open during her reign as the border czar. The point is, because Kamala Harris continues to hide as much of herself and her plans as possible from the public, the Trump team has managed to hand off this epic troll. So that's the first major issue that we're seeing reflected in the betting markets. The second is the huge economic news. A massive correction has been given to us recently by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, or BLS. Originally, they had touted 2.9 million jobs added to the labor market in the last year, which was already weak as it is, but it helped to shore up the idea that the economy wasn't that bad and that perhaps maybe good times were still ahead. But now the Bureau of Labor Statistics has had to announce a revision of approximately 818,000 fewer jobs than initially estimated between March 2023 and March 2024. This represents a 28% reduction in the reported job growth for that period. And this wasn't just some rounding error made by the BLS. No, this was a massive, let's call it mistake for the moment. To give you a perspective of just how absurdly off this was, the last time that we saw this big of a downward adjustment was in 2009. Which occurred during the aftermath of the Great Recession. You know, when the housing market crashed and the futures of millions and millions of then brand new aged millennials found themselves trapped in a market with little room for growth. This, by the way, led to the creation of the Occupy Wall Street protests, which was the larva stage for what has become the Antifa hate group movement. Anyway, this has led to speculation that the Bureau of Labor Statistics itself is corrupt and was trying to shore up the Biden administration. Here is a sample of some of the reactions to this.
A huge revision down, 818,000 fewer jobs. This is basically the government's overstated the amount of people in the workforce. And even when you look under this, manufacturing was down 115,000 people. So this is a revision down, a significant revision down, the largest in 15 years that we've seen. And it basically says that the government has now overstated the amount of people who are working in this workforce. It shows weakness in the job markets over the past year that we didn't realize was there, but now we know is there. So again, 818,000 overall jobs down, manufacturing down 115,000 in this. And if you just wrote construction down 45,000. So these numbers are huge numbers in revisions down.
And then, of course, there's the CNN spin on this news, trying to make it seem like it's not that bad.
Some breaking news in the CNN right now. The job growth has been far weaker in the U.S. than originally reported. That is according to new data just coming in this morning. Let's get right to CNN's Matt Egan. What's the headline, Matt?
Jim, 818,000 fewer jobs were added during the period between April 2023 and March of this year. We were bracing for these revisions to come out and show that job growth was weaker, and that is what we got. This is probably on the high end of the expectations.
Probably on the high
Some of the forecasters have been saying probably around few 100,000 jobs. Goldman Sachs had said maybe up to 1 million. So this is on the higher end. We're seeing some of the biggest revisions downward in sectors that include manufacturing, leisure and hospitality, professional and business services. Of course, some sectors actually added more jobs than were previously known. Private education, health services, transportation and warehousing. We look at the market, not a massive reaction from the market. I think that's in part because this is somewhat backwards looking data.
Now, Trump himself decided to pontificate on this, and this is how that went.
Before we begin, I want to address the massive scandal around the revised job numbers that were just announced this morning, a little while ago, just before I came up, I got to see them. And it really isn't a revision. It's a total lie. Total lie. There's never been any revision like this. They wanted it to come out after the election, but somehow it got leaked. It got leaked. Government leaks too. The Harris-Biden administration has been caught fraudulently manipulating job statistics to hide the true extent of the economic ruin that they've inflicted on America. The new data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that the administration padded the numbers with an extra, listen to this one, 818,000 jobs that don't exist. So they said they existed, and they never did exist. They built them up so that they could say what a wonderful job they're doing. No, we've never had numbers like this.
So the point is the economy is not doing well, and there's no real way to hide it now. And this then brings us to the third and perhaps biggest red flag for the Harris campaign, which may very well be having the largest impact on the betting markets. And that is a man known as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., you see, is reportedly preparing to withdraw from the 2024 U.S. presidential race and perhaps endorse Donald Trump. This unexpected development has roiled the online community, sparking heated debates all over social media. Kennedy, who has been running as the independent candidate after being pushed out of the Democratic primary by his own party, who wanted to avoid another Bernie Sanders scenario, has announced a scheduled speech about his path forward in Phoenix, Arizona on Friday. This announcement has fueled speculation about his campaign's future, especially considering it just days before his running mate, Nicole Shanahan, said this on Impact Theory.
There's two options that we're looking at, and one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Waltz presidency because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump, or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and you know, we walk away from that and we explain to our base why we're making this decision. Not easy.
Clearly.
Yeah, not an easy decision.
So what could this mean for the race itself? Simply put, if Kennedy doesn't just drop out, but endorses and gets behind the Trump campaign, this could deal a huge blow to Kamala's chances in November as Kennedy draws both Republicans and Democrats to his campaign. Recent polling data has Kennedy polling at about 8.6% nationally. So it's not a small chunk of change when it comes to a voter base. Then you add to this the speculation that has now been brewing about a possible cabinet position for RFK Jr. within the Trump administration. Donald Trump has expressed willingness to consider appointing Kennedy to a cabinet position if he were to win the election. And to this end, there has been particular discussion about Kennedy perhaps potentially serving as the Secretary of Health and Human Services, given his focus on health-related issues. The stars seem to be aligning in Trump's favor right now. The Harris campaign will have to dramatically up their game if they want to stay appearing to be leading this race. So buckle up, my friends. The next big shakeup of the race is right around the corner. And just think, we still have several months left to go before we get to November. Expect things to continue to get stranger from here on out. From the To Be Frank show, I am Adrian. Thanks for watching, my friends. I'll see you all in the next video.